Here I'm drawing a transverse fracture. It is a fracture that occurs at right angles to the lateral axis of the bone involved. As you can see where the arrow is, that is where the fracture is. And it occurs when there may be a big blow to the bone or constant stress to the bone over time. Here I am drawing a green stick fracture. A green stick fracture occurs when a bone bends and cracks instead of breaking completely into separate pieces. This fracture is most common in children younger than the age of 10 years old. This is true because children's bones are softer and more flexible than the bones of adults.
This is an oblique fracture. A oblique fracture is when a fracture occurs at a plane oblique to the long axis of the bone. This is an open fracture. A open fracture is when an open wound or a break in the skin occurs. A open fracture can occur at a high energy event, but also from simply a fall. As you can see, the bone pierces the skin, and this is a open fracture.
Impacted fracture. A bone fracture in which one of the fragments is driven into another fragment. It is also absent in fractures in which the broken extremities are driven into one another. Fracture occurs when the bone cracks and bends but does not completely break. When the bone does break into separated pieces, the condition is called a complete fracture. An impacted fracture occurs when the broken end of the bone are jammed together by the force of the injury.
Perfecto.
A comminuted fracture is a break or splinter of the bone into more than two fragments. Since considerable force and energy is required to the fragment bone fractures of this degree occur after high impact trauma. The most common causes of fracture are trauma. A fall motor vehicle accident or a tackle during a football game cannot result in fractures. Osteoporosis. This disorder weakens bones and makes them more likely to break. Overuse is a repetitive motion that can tie muscles and place more force on bone. Comminuted fracture. This occurs when the bone cracks into several fragments. It occurs as a result of high impact trauma or osteoporosis.
This is a spiral fracture. It is a jagged break. It's a fracture that is caused by excessive twisting of the bone. It has jagged ends and is most likely take long to heal because of the pieces are broken and are unable to completely go together. As you can see in the highlighted area, it's very hard for them to go back together and takes a long time to heal. Healing. Healing for an undisplaced bone takes about 4 to 6 weeks in a straight cast. This allows the bone to completely heal and completely come back together. In a displaced bone fracture, the doctor needs to perform open surgery onto the bone so that it can be in the same spot and still be in a cast for time to heal.
I did a closed fracture. A closed fracture is a bone that breaks but does not penetrate the skin and protrude outwards. Here's an example.
The bone repair process first begins when a bone breaks. Blood flows from any vessels torn by the fracture. The vessels could be in the periosteum, osteotomus, or medial cavity. The blood begins to clog in about 6 to 8 hours after the fracture. The clogging blood has formed a fracture hematomia. The disruption of blood flow to the bone results in the death of blood cells around the fracture. The second step to bone repair is called cartilaginous callus formation. It is the process where fibrocartilage is formed in place of the blood clog. And if fibrocartilage is very soft, this is very important because then the blood vessels can start to reconnect and form again through the fibrocartilage. This process happens 48 hours after the fracture occurred. The third stage of bone repair is bony callus. It is where the cartilage will be replaced by bone and the blood vessels will start to reconnect again. This process takes several weeks to occur. The final stage of bone repair is called remodeling. It is a process where these cells called osteoclasts take away the excess cartilage or that bulge that was created during this process. They help reshape the bone into the shape it was before the fracture occurred.